Cutler tries to convince Kristin Cavallari to buy a new home, and her staff has a heated argument on Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari isn't messing around. On this week's episode of Cavallari, the gang is back together, and once again, Shannon Ford is at the center of all the drama. The group is finally moving into their new Nashville store, but Shannon and Brittany Taylor are still having trouble getting along. Kristin asked the group to help get the store ready before she arrived with Cutler, but instead Shannon chose to throw an adult temper tantrum after Brittany asked her to stop decorating the community desk with her own personal items. After that, all hell broke loose. Well, more like Shannon decided to angrily toss all of her precious items back in the box in a very dramatic fashion, which didn't sit well with Brit. "You're more than welcome to not be here," Brittany warned her before focusing on the rest of her work for the day. Meanwhile, Kristin called to ask the women to do one simple task before she arrived with Jay. But unfortunately, no one took her all that seriously and the task never got done. They were supposed to label the buckets so Jay could drop off the stuff and go, but since they couldn't find labels, they instead chose to do nothing. "Why didn't someone go and get paper to write them down? Jay has to go," a frustrated Kristin asked her employees. All of them stood there with blank stares while Kristin exited to get the rest of the items. Instead of letting Jay fire them, which he wanted to do, Kristin gave the ladies a stern warning. Let's just say, that was almost worse than getting canned. Later in the evening, the group went to a bar to unwind, and Shannon ended up pissing off her boyfriend John Gurney after spending a little too much time flirting with Virth Campbell, which she of course denies. The incident led to the couple's first fight, and John ended up leaving the bar without Shannon. But she wasn't letting this go without a fight and wanted to find her man to resolve the issues, but she didn't have a ride. So guess who she called? Brittany. Yep. Talk about awkward. Interestingly enough, Brittany was completely okay with giving Shannon a ride to find her man. "I know SHT has been so weird between you and I sincerely appreciate you coming," Shannon confided to her on the drive. Brittany returned the favor by offering some kind words of wisdom to her newfound pal. "I think you guys are going to be fine. It's your first fight. I don't even remember what our first fight was," she shared. "This is how you get to the most beautiful part of your relationship." As far as couples disagreeing goes, Kristin and Jay may have a little trouble in paradise brewing too. Jay wants to buy a new home in Nashville, but Kristin isn't totally convinced. "I'm going to buy a house today," Jay tells his wife. "That's cool," she responds. "For yourself?" she adds jokingly. But he's still very sold on the idea. "Kind of all the family members here," he told her tentatively. "I'm not moving," she exclaimed further. "I think we need to consider this in all seriousness," he shared. So will Kristin break down and end up getting a new house?